Hi guys, in this video we're going to quickly install Microsoft SQL Server and also the SSMS, which is the client version to access Microsoft SQL Server. And then we are going to restore a database called the AdventureWorks, which is created by Microsoft for learning purpose. So let's go ahead and search for SQL Server download in the Google browser. Once you have your results, click on the first option which says SQL Server Downloads. This opens into a new window. Scroll down until you see all the different SQL Server options that are available. What we are after is the SQL Server 2025 Express. So we'll go ahead and download this. Ensure you identify where you are saving the executable file so as to launch it after download. So you click on Save. So I'm downloading mine in the download folder. So I'll click on this and then it's going to attempt to install it. So I'll say yes. Then the installation will begin. So we have three options. The download media, this is just to download the installation files. The custom, which enables you to set the installation the way you want it, make certain choices. And we have the basic, which just goes ahead to install the default configuration. So for this, we're going to go for the basic installation. You click on basic, then this brings us to the software license agreement page. So scroll down, read the agreement from Microsoft and accept it to proceed. Click on accept. Now this gives us the option of where to install the software. It's better to just go ahead with the default selection. So to go ahead with that, you just click on install and the installation process would proceed. Now, initially, it's going to download the installation package, and that has completed now. And then it's going ahead to install the Express version of the SQL Server 2025. This might take a while, so I'll pause the recording and continue as soon as the installation completes. Okay, now the installation of the SQL Server has completed and we are at this window. So the next thing is for us to install SSMS. To proceed, you click on this button which says Install SSMS. Then this brings us to another window where we are going to download the SQL Server Management Studio 22 installer. So click on this blue button and it's going to ask you where you'd like to save the installation file. I'm going to save mine in the downloads folder and that has been done. So I'll click on it to open the file. And here we have the SSMS installer asking me to confirm if I want to make changes to my computer. So I'll click on yes. And this will start the installation process. So I'll click on continue. Yes, so this gives us another window. And here I can either go ahead and install the default or make some addition here. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and install the basic installation. I'm not going to do any addition. So I'll click on install here. And the installation process will begin. This is going to take some time, so I'll pause the recording and we'll come back after the installation completes. Okay, the installation is now completed. In some cases, you may have a window like this, and in some cases, you might have a window that asks you to restart your system. But either ways, you can go ahead and launch the SSMS application. So I'll click on Launch. Then this would ask us to register or sign in. You can skip this and add account later. So click on Skip. Yes. So this is going to ask you to input your server name. Usually your server name is linked to your username. The first part of your username is part of your server name. So you go ahead and type, for me that is MA laptop. Then you look for backslash, then SQL Express. Because we installed the Express edition, so this is my server name, MA laptop backslash SQL Express. So just pick your server name from your username, and then you do a backslash, then SQL Express. Check this box to trust server certificate and click on connect. Okay, so that brings us back into the SSMS application. So to proceed here, we'll need to install a database. So as you can see, we only have the system database and the database snapshots. We don't have an actual real database. So to install the database, we will go back and search for AdventureWorks download, AdventureWorks database download. Okay, so type AdventureWorks database download, click on enter, and that's going to give you this option. So click on the first option that you have. Then when you get to the Microsoft Build 2026 page under Microsoft Learn, you scroll down until you see the various options that you have. So the option that we want is the OLTP file, and that's the first one, which matches the SQL 2025 server that we installed. So this is what we want. So you click on this, and it's going to give you the option of saving this to your computer. So I'm going to save it back into the downloads folder like I have done. So I'll click on save. So this is the database, and it comes with the .bak file extension. So that has been downloaded into my downloads folder. So I'll go back to SSMS, and to start a new query, I'll need to click on the new query button here. So click on this to launch a new query. But the main thing we want to do now is to install or restore a backup. So to restore a backup file, you come to your database, right-click on your database, and from the pop-up box, search for restore database. So this is what we need, restore database. Click on restore database, and this will open a window for you. So it says no backup sets selected to be restored. So you need to pick up the file that you want to backup. So where do you have the file? Where's the source of your backup file? So you have to go to your device. Once you've clicked your device, come to these three ellipses, click on it, and this is going to bring another pop-up box. So click on Add to proceed. When you click on Add, it's going to ask you to select a file from this folder. But in this folder, you have not placed your backup file in this folder yet. So what we'll do is we'll copy this file location, highlight that, click on Control C, and copy the file location. Then open your Windows File Explorer, which is this one. You can open a new folder. So after opening a new folder, click on the Home tab there and drop Control Paste to paste the folder location where the backup folder is looking for. So click Enter. Okay, so after the error, this brings us to the folder that we need. So I'm going to go to the Downloads folder and I'll copy the backup file that we downloaded, the AdventureWorks backup file. So Control C, and then I'll go into the backup folder from Microsoft, the SQL Server Express edition, and then I'll paste it in here. Okay, so after pasting it in there, I'll go back to the pop-up box from the restore section and I'll refresh. Once you click on refresh, can you see the file has been saved there? So once this is saved, click on this, then click on OK, and then that's you adding it to the backup from the selection for the backup. So click on OK to proceed. And then the other columns have been populated. So to proceed, you click on OK. Make sure it is checked here. Click on OK. And then your database will be restored. So now we have successfully restored the AdventureWorks 2025 database. Click on OK to finish off. Then we can go back to our SSMS. And can you now see that we have the restored database here? So to see what's inside the database, we can now just open it. So open it, these are the various options of what you have in there. And then you can come to the table section, expand it, and then you can see all the different tables that you have. So now we have successfully installed Microsoft SQL Server Express. We've installed SSMS, the client part that we'll use to access the database. And then we've restored a backup of the AdventureWorks database. So now we can start writing SQL queries based on this database to continue with our learning. Thank you very much for listening. Please follow the video if you need to install this on your computer. Thank you.